Hello. Hello. Can anyone hear me? I will be starting in the next 3 minutes. So I'm making you. 1 go to kickstart our session as to join and we can start. Okay, I think now we've waited for those to join us, so we should get starting in a few seconds from now. All right. Hello, I'm called Kiza Saddam Hussein, and I'll be taking you through today's session, which is titled Sustainable Future, or you can equally say youth prosperity. That can also work. So allow me to and get to highlight some of the understand or cover. Once again, I'm Kiza Saddam Hussein, a lawyer, and but also a student activist, rather a youth activist. Today's session aims at making sure that young people will be can use to start up their own entrepreneurs through my capacity building, keep young passion, ability, and the knowledge of how. As we go on, understand that people have to join business enterprises as the only hope for our Commonwealth country develop, but also have a sustainable future and developing countries. So throughout today, what what entrepreneurship is, then we should the 12 points. 12 points young people must understand to be an entrepreneur. Then, of course, using how do you use entrepreneurship to boost sustainable development in a using entrepreneurship as the catalyst of prosperity in the Commonwealth countries. Then we shall also understand the growth and challenges of entrepreneurship. What are the growth and the challenges of entrepreneurship? Then we shall also be able to cover a key component of entrepreneurship, which is creativity and innovation. So how do you apply creativity and innovation to become an entrepreneur? Then Hello. Sorry, I think I got some internet challenges. I think it just went off suddenly. But allow me to take you again in our today's session as we try to cover what we aim to cover today. Once again, I'm called Kiza Saddam Hussein, a Queen's Young Leader 2017, and a lawyer by profession, but also a youth activist, and equally a business enterprise owner. So we are aware of what the numbers the youth comprise in the Commonwealth countries. Over 60% are young people in the Commonwealth countries. And we know that youth badly need the know-how, the knowledge, so that they can apply it to start up businesses as the only hope, most not necessarily the only hope, but the most attractive approach to develop our Commonwealth countries, but also promote prosperity within our Commonwealth countries, and equally develop ourselves as young. So today, I'll be taking you throughout this session, the capacity building session, of course, endorsed by the Commonwealth Youth Forum as we build up to the Commonwealth Youth Forum and equally to CHOGM 218, which will be taking place in London. We are using these capacity building sessions as an empowerment, but also as a provocative to provoke discussions in relation to different topics as we prepare ourselves to participate and generate views on how we can develop our countries, but also promote sustainable future and a sustainable and prosperous Commonwealth countries. So, as we progress today, I will help you as a young people, or guide you as a young person, or even any other person who is listening or watching. I will guide you to understand what entrepreneurship is all about. Having understood entrepreneurship, I will highlight the 12 points a young entrepreneur must understand to become a successful entrepreneur. A person who is just entering into entrepreneurship, what are some of the key things you can pick that can help you succeed in your journey as an entrepreneur? Then equally, I will I will guide you. I will guide you to understand. I will guide you to understand how do you use entrepreneurship to boost sustainable and prosperous Commonwealth countries. How do you use entrepreneurship as a boost of the prosperity into Commonwealth countries? Then equally, how we shall understand the growth and challenges of entrepreneurship. In addition, we shall also tackle key components which include creativity and innovation and how do you use those two as a component of entrepreneurship to become a successful entrepreneur. Then in a wind-up, we shall also highlight some of the ventures or types of businesses a young person or a youth can venture into and become successful in our countries or in our given communities. So with that, allow me to take you now into the details or the whole gist of our today's session. Remember, as we discuss, You can always go into the comment section, put your comment, ask a question, or even give your opinion, give your idea of what you think others can also learn from you or understand, or even what you think I have not highlighted and is crucial for the entire youth to understand and learn. Then also keep our discussion on through using hash CYF or Commonwealth Youth Forum as in a full hash CYF. Using that platform, you can engage or other youth or even any other person across the globe. There, people can share views, share ideas, and also contribute to our discussion. So now, let's now start with some of the definition of the terms we're going to be using in our discussion, in our entire discussion. Among the things or the word we shall encounter is entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship, in our discussion, for the sake of our discussion, I'll define it for you, or perhaps you can also type your own definition, but for now, let me give you my definition, then perhaps we can proceed. So entrepreneurship is defined as a process of making money, earning profits, and increasing the wealth while posing characteristics such as risk-taking, management, leadership, and innovation, of course, and creativity. So that, in simple terms, that's what entrepreneurship is. Then an entrepreneur, who is an entrepreneur? This is a person who is willing to bear the risk of a new venture if there is a significant chance for a profit, and also plays a role of creativity and an innovator developing new goods or processes that lack in the market yet on demand. So that is the person who is an entrepreneur, the person who is willing to bear risk and to invent into a new venture, rather to invest into a new venture, but also who is willing to introduce something new to the market, which he believes the market is in need of that particular product or service. That is the entrepreneur. Then, having understood entrepreneurship and entrepreneur, then now let's see other words like creativity. Creativity is the spark that drives the development of a new product or services or ways to do businesses. So that spark that drives development of a new product or services or ways to do businesses is creativity. It is the push for innovation and improvement, and it is the continuous learning, questioning, and thinking outside the prescribed establishment. So in a nutshell, creativity doesn't have a specific definition, neither is entrepreneurship, but you can only define it using keywords like an innovation. In creativity, there is innovation. There is improvement of a particular product or a particular service, or there is discovering things beyond things outside the prescribed either establishment or prescribed form of particular product. Then in innovation, let's also understand what is innovation. Innovation is the introduction of a new thing, ideas, or ways of doing something, and that is per the Oxford definition. They define it innovation as introduction of new things, ideas, or ways of doing something. So if you can be that person who can introduce new things or ideas or ways of doing something into an unusual way or an extraordinary way, then you are an innovator. Then also throughout our discussion, we shall deal with the word youth. And to us, a youth is a person who is between the age of 15 and 29, and that is per the Commonwealth definition. Though other countries have it from 18 to 29 or from 18 to 35, whichever definition. But for now, let's take it like this. So, youth understanding entrepreneurship. Now let's understand what entrepreneurship is. You remember, as we discuss, we are aiming to see how can we use entrepreneurship as a catalyst of a sustainable prosperity within the Commonwealth countries or within your communities or your particular countries. How do we use entrepreneurship? So, for you to use entrepreneurship to boost prosperity within your countries, you must understand what is it all about anyway. How do you understand entrepreneurship? Is it something like you go in learning school? Is it something you do at home? Is it something you have to go and just copy and paste? Let's understand now what it's all about. But remember the definitions. These definitions we've so far defined have helped us to understand what is entrepreneurship and who is an innovator, what is innovation, what is creativity, and who is an entrepreneur. So now let me first take you through the key elements of entrepreneurship. What are the key elements? Among them, there is vision. Now, to many, vision is something that either they hear about in maybe from different leaders or perhaps from maybe your community leaders, or it's something you just read about and you don't know what exactly it is all about. But vision in entrepreneurship, it is something crucial that you as a young person, before you go into business of any venture or starting up your entrepreneurship career, you should understand. I'll perhaps give you an example of a vision of perhaps different leaders have had different visions, or how can you frame your vision? Let me give you an example of maybe Steve Jobs, the vision he had for his company. Steve Jobs, when he was starting up his Apple company, he had a vision of seeing a country, seeing the world where every person had a computer in his or her hands, in which that computer was either to be used to give them a dream to live, to use it as a way to achieve their dreams. So that was his vision by then. And by the time he started, he literally knew nothing that in reality Apple would be this big innovation that will spark discussion over the world, that will reach out, that Apple would reach out to different African, Asian, European countries as it is today. But because of his vision that he had, he was able to innovate and create something that we see today even beyond his life. So, in entrepreneurship, you should have, before you become an entrepreneur, first of all, have a vision. Have a vision that you feel, this is the vision I see for my enterprises. After clearly identifying a vision, create my company. Let's say an example of, let's say I'm going to start up a transport business. That my vision is to make sure that in the next 10 or 20 years, these cars I have, they will be able to reach to every corner of this country and will be able to offer affordable transport for everyone in all the parts of this country. So if you have such a vision, now you start working on the modalities. How do you now achieve your vision? So having now understood what how vision is a key element in entrepreneurship. Now let's go to innovation. Innovation is an interesting component, but also a key component for any person who wants to enter into entrepreneurship. Let me perhaps go a little bit in broader. For there is usually a kind of confusion between innovation and creativity, but it is easy to confuse the two, much as they are all more or less similar. But creativity is the process you go through, is the skills you apply to create something which end up becoming an innovation. So innovation is a total component, a total package of something you've discovered, something new, something that has not been in the field, in the market, something that is useful and something that can bring you either something that can help in a different ways, either through services delivery or through making the people's life easy, or anything that has not been there but is badly needed into the market. So that is innovation. So innovation is also a very key component of entrepreneurship. Without innovation, perhaps there is no true definition of entrepreneurship. In entrepreneurship, you must innovate something new, something different from what others have already. Then the other key element is risk taking. As an entrepreneur, you must be able to bear risk, because actually they say without you taking risk, it is also risk itself. For people who fear to put their money or to invest into something or to spend their time into doing something crucial, for fear that it is risky, that is also a risk itself for you not doing it. So now, the best way to become an entrepreneur is to understand that risk is a necessary component which you must partake. However, it does not mean that you recklessly risk everything you have because you want to start up something. It does not mean that you neglect some of the procedures you must partake in order to become an entrepreneur. For example, much as risk is necessary, when you're starting up a business, you cannot have all your capital and spend it on a particular product or business when it is, let's say, into a trying stage or a test stage. You run a risk that that product, the money you've spent on it, might fail, and you fail even to regain part of the part of the capital that you used. That means you are likely going to fail and fail totally, and that would blow your aspirations of becoming a successful entrepreneur. So in risk taking, you must be able to understand, yes, I'm taking risk, but to what extent am I going to risk? That taken, we should also understand other key elements like organizational skills. Entrepreneurs always have good organizational skills, and these skills they not only are good for your entrepreneurship business or career, but also they are good for you as a person. When you're organized, everything always goes as planned and things come your way. Now, in organizational skills, you don't need also to have these skills as a person, as an entrepreneur per se. If you don't have them, yes, you can learn them, but you can also equally employ others who are better skilled than you to to organize the business. Of course, you remain at the epitome of it, but you must have other people to run the day-to-day organization of your business, to do with accountability, to do with marketing, to do with compliance issues and policies. All that require a team of brilliant, smart people who understand what they do and who understand your vision as a company, but also have better organizational skills. Then What else? What other skills can we learn from there? Now, allow me also to take it to another skill called you must be able to take concrete and smart steps in reaching your goal. Taking concrete and smart steps in reaching your goal. As an entrepreneur, taking smart concrete steps to reach your goal is a key element you must partake. And this includes the planning phase, the research phase, the creativity phase, the testing phase or the launching phase and all that. Those are key phases that you must partake to reach your goal or your vision. Now, also, entrepreneurs should follow your business passion. Entrepreneurs usually follow their business passion. If you want to succeed as an entrepreneur or as a young entrepreneur, first have the passion for what you really want to do. It is not all about just doing anything, but rather following your passion to do something relevant that you will feel you'll be proud of, but also you feel others will be proud of you for having done or brought this product into their life or this service into their life. And the other thing is should turn obstacles into assets. As an entrepreneur, you must be willing to know that you will encounter different obstacles in your life. But amidst of those obstacles, you must be able to convert them into assets that will aid you to achieve your objectives or your goals as an entrepreneur. Also, you must be able to create a prototype to test workers or the market. Having gone through all these other stages, yes, the product is there. You must, presumably the product is not there. First come up with a product or a service you want to deliver to give to the people, to the economy. Then test it to see if there is really demand for it, if it has a role to play in the market. And if you can create that prototype and people see it and they visualize that it's relevant, they own it, then you feel that this product is up for grab and it is going to be a success. And that means that you'll be a successful entrepreneur. Then being able to identify the buyer and the motivation to buy. Having developed your product or your service, then do you have the capacity to identify the buyers who will buy your product? In entrepreneurship, without a buyer to buy your service, then you are equally have done nothing. Because all in all, it's all about the product should be on demand and should bring profits to you as an entrepreneur. So where there is no element of profits or people demanding that product, then there is an element that is lacking within your process of innovation or as entrepreneurship. So finding buyers, it is as crucial as it is to the people or to the community when they feel that your product is good enough to be used. Then, as an entrepreneur, you should get inspired and capitalize on your strengths as your primary source of energy. Getting inspired is in different ways, but as an entrepreneur, you should always have this optimism, this passion to make your vision become realistic. And getting inspired also cuts across. It calls for you to start learning from other successful entrepreneurs. Start seeing how others have done it in the past. Not in the sense that you're going to replicate their type of business, but just because to see what was the motivation for them to do what they did or to invent something that they invented. So when you are inspired, then you can capitalize on that energy, on that passion, also to create something new, something that will bring profits to you, but also will give you a long-lasting reputation in the world. Then as an entrepreneur, you should equally have good management and organization skill, like I said, but also as an entrepreneur, you should learn from your mistake and know when to quit. This is very crucial. Many entrepreneurs, many young people, I can now speak to myself. I'll give you an example. When I finished the university, I thought of starting up some business to do with fashion, fashion and design, selling different brands, different clothes, and different uh, styles of people to buy and wear. In a nutshell, it was a boutique of sorts of clothes. But it was so good for me that I had started something for myself, not to work for someone. But it was equally so challenging that I learned new things which I did not know before I started. Among the things I learned was the dynamics of a market. I thought that everyone must buy clothes. At least I know that everyone must buy clothes at one point. But I did not understand the type of people where I located my business. I did not understand the type of people who were there and the level of their income and the type of clothes they can buy. So many people in that area were below below a particular line, in a nutshell, that they were low income earners. So they could not afford the types of types of things that I owned in the boutique. So I ended up failing to maximize the profits, but also even to make the sales so that I can progress and expand the business, perhaps in other areas. Yet I had to pay rent, I had to live, had to eat, I had to do other things, but also bring new stuff in the boutique. So I failed. I did not per se fail entirely, but I saw it was going to be a disaster, a total disaster for me if I stayed in that business. So I quit the business. What did I learn? I learned something. I learned about doing research first, doing the scanning. You do the external scanning of the business, of the economy, of the environment before you introduce your business. But also, I was clever enough to quit before it was too late for me, before I could have lost everything. So I learned from my mistake, but also I timed the right time to quit and venture into another business. So as an entrepreneur, you should equally learn that. You should know that yes, you can start up something, but not everything that you start will always become a success. They say you fail 1,000 times, but you succeed once, maybe the 111th, or you fail 100 times, but 111th you succeed. Too many businesses and they fail, but maybe one business will go through. But the only issue is to learn when to quit and learning from your mistakes. Then, having discussed all that now, how do you use entrepreneurship? Now we're going to another key element. How do you use entrepreneurship to boost sustainable development in the Commonwealth? This is so crucial for young people because, like I said, young people comprise around over 60% of the total population in the Commonwealth countries. And these young people, most of them are either unemployed, others are still in schools, others are employed. But of course, we have a very big number of young people who are unemployed in our countries. And it is necessary that now our countries use these give an environment that can help these young people join into businesses. They become entrepreneurs. When they do that, they will be able to employ themselves, employ fellow youth, and generate income to their families, their communities develop, but also our countries develop. And the projections have been there that entrepreneurship, yes, it is growing in terms of rate, but now there are things that we need to correct, we need to put right before Commonwealth countries can prosper in terms of development and also in terms of other having a sustainable future for ourselves. And among things that should be considered is to create a conducive entrepreneurship environment in the Commonwealth. How do you create that entrepreneurship environment for the young people to venture into entrepreneurship, to enter into entrepreneurship? First is to have peace, create peace within the Commonwealth countries. Peace is as necessary as it is either for other types of businesses, be it in people who are in law field, people who are into medics, people who are into other types of ventures. When there is no peace, totally there's nothing taking place. Only people are running away as refugees, people are dying, they are young, a lot is happening. So many countries, some of the countries in Commonwealth, they still encounter instability out of conflicts. But it's a good thing that we young people now are coming up to enter into this discussion of how do we bring peace to ourselves and for our whole countries. And so it's good we promote peace, but also our governments should work hard enough to avoid conflicts through either alternative dispute resolution, negotiations, and other ways of creating peace for the young people to venture into entrepreneurship and create a prosperous environment. Equally, economic policies are so crucial for entrepreneurship to flourish in our countries. Good economic policies that help young people to access funds. Young people would much love to become entrepreneurs, but one key element of capital is lacking. Yes, they say you can always find a way to start up a business and make money, earn profits. But nowadays, okay, not nowadays necessarily, but even then, even business which start small, you find that they start with $1, $2, or $10. Then that dollar multiplies, it grows, and the business grows. But young people need also access to capital through either the private banks, the government-owned banks, or other streamlined policies that aim to empower young people, to give them capital or allow them to access those other resources that can help them to become entrepreneurs. And the good structure is as equally important. When a young person develops something, let's say he's into agriculture, he grows his crops, he processes them, and he wants to take them, either export them to other Commonwealth countries. You find that we still have issue of infrastructure to do with our roads. The airways is equally not affordable to many Commonwealth countries. The costs are high for young people to export their products or their goods or their services. So our countries should now work harder to make sure that we have good economic policies, good infrastructure, and also support the young people in any way. Then there is need to promote small and medium business enterprises. The SMEs should be promoted. And how do you do that? By either creating policies that give tax incentives to the young people. If I start up a company or a small business in a community or in a country which has high tax rates, most likely when my company is just starting and I haven't tapped into these loyal clientele or loyal customers who I can count on to sell and also able to earn a profit and pay revenue, I'm likely going to fail. And that is not good for the entrepreneurship environment. So tax incentives are good for small and medium enterprises. Then easing credit accessibility and allocate targeted funding for young people. If you ease credit accessibility, but also allocate targeted funding to young people are more likely going to get capital to start up their own businesses, and that will be good for prosperity of our Commonwealth countries through expansion of economy, through employment, and through also increased budgetary tax corrections for the government. When businesses are many and expanding, governments will collect enough taxes to cater for other things, like to do with hospitals, to do with roads, to do with and social security services for the elderly and all others. So it is also necessary that young people have access to credit facilities. Then also there's a need to promote policies or culture that recognizes and accords benefits to entrepreneurs as an encouragement for entrepreneurship development. When we have these policies or culture that recognizes and accords benefits to entrepreneurs, then young people will be so encouraged to join entrepreneurship, and entrepreneurship will flourish, will develop. Give an example like developed countries, go to either China or go to US, where entrepreneurship has always been their culture. It is because of the policies that are there that accommodate and give high due respect to entrepreneurs, people who are self-made. They are given that due respect, which also attracts others to join the field, to become entrepreneurs. So equally, more likely in Africa, Commonwealth countries, and part of Asia, our countries need to work harder and also introduce new policies that promote and recognizes entrepreneurs in order to encourage young people to join the field. Then there's need to share good entrepreneurship practices with the youth of the Commonwealth through networking and exchanges. If, let's say, for example, from here, you go and interact with another person in London, a young person like you who has done something great, innovative, creative, created a good business, and is changing lives of people, but also earning profit. I'm likely going to be inspired by that, by understanding how that young person did it. And I also feel like I can replicate or learn from that person and come and do something of my own for my community. Through exchanges and sharing good practices in Commonwealth, young people can learn and expand and also grow as entrepreneurs. As we continue, let me first perhaps plug in the charger since my battery is getting low. Please keep online. I'll get back shortly. Thank you. Okay, sorry for the inconvenience. I had not plugged in charger. But let's proceed. To proceed, I'd just say that young people need to have a platform in which they can share good practices. And practices, this can be done through different exchanges. Let's say young people are still in schools. When they have these exchange programs taking place between our Commonwealth countries, then it gives them a platform to learn from each other, the young people, and also it gives them opportunity to network and learn from each other, but also promote good businesses within themselves. So through such exchange programs, through conferences, through workshops, young people can be able to develop mentally, but also develop the hands-on skills, but also learn from other fellow young people to also replicate or develop their capacity to become great entrepreneurs. Then, as young people also, it is necessary that the young people have access to the right skills. And these right skills, they could either be learned or acquired through different forms, approaches, like exchanges or conference or trainings, or dedicated or frame training that can do that. And it is good for Commonwealth countries to have these kind of structures, but also have the system that equips the young people with the right knowledge and the right skills, so that young people can be utilized to develop entrepreneurship and also spur development in their given countries. I'll give an example here. A person, let's say a person in India, young person in India, could be so good in innovating perhaps medicine, some type of medication that is necessary maybe to treat cancer. Yet in Africa, let's say an example of a country like Uganda or Kenya, for them their environment is not framed to empower or nurture doctors or nurses, but rather maybe athletes or sportsmen or other types of business people, not necessarily in research and medics. But when now you bring these young people from Kenya, Uganda, or any other country, or Tanga, or any other country, and you take them to India, or perhaps get some of their trainers from India to come and teach these other young people in Kenya or other countries. By sharing that knowledge and giving those skills, Kenya will not lack doctors in a few coming years after the training or after this whole organized structure of sharing the right skills. Kenya will be able to have enough doctors who can save lives of the women and young people in their hospitals, but also India will continue to grow with its skills, but also learn from what Kenya is good at, which they don't have in their countries. So young people or young entrepreneurs should have access to the right skills. This includes business management skills, innovative skills, creativity skills, all these other types of skills that are relevant for one to become a successful entrepreneur. Then, having now understood what Commonwealth can do, there are more other things that Commonwealth countries can do to boost entrepreneurship in their countries, more so accommodating young people as entrepreneurs. There are many things we can continue with the discussion. However, now allow me to take you to some of the things that dictate or affect the entrepreneurship development in the Commonwealth. There are many things that affect entrepreneurship growth in our Commonwealth countries, but there are things that I just highlighted to just give you a feeling or an understanding of what are those that we have. Some of them that dictate entrepreneurship is demographics. Like I highlighted before when I was starting giving statistics of youth in our Commonwealth countries, young people are many. They have a quite bigger margin in terms of population. Over 60% are young people. Now, for a person who wants to become an entrepreneur, you must understand this, that demographics will always dictate how the entrepreneurship environment will be like. Take an example. In Africa, it is projected that many people in Africa are owning phones. For example, they are using phones for business transactions, phones to pay school fees, phones to check in news. Either you want to watch BBC News, you want to watch either CNN or any other news channel that you want a source of information. You can watch it via phone. You can be on Facebook for using phone. You can get all these things using a phone. And those are many of them are young people who are owning phones. So now, if you want to become an entrepreneur, you must understand how do I use these demographics to bring something creative, something new that can either be on demand or make the lives of these people easy, and also, of course, earn a profit. So when you now a person who is into phone production, phone designing, you understand that in Africa is the right area for me to invest much. That's why you see many companies are coming to Africa. Telecom companies are in Africa, and other phone, this would be Apple, Samsung, or other types of brands are coming to Africa because they know phone is on demand in Africa. There is the number of people who are below the poverty level is a bit reducing, and people are getting more money to afford the phone. So now you as an innovator, as a young entrepreneur who wants also to use the number of the youth or the young people to become your customers, your clients. So understand what can I bring to these young people and they can easily buy. You think of something that young people are so passionate about, that they feel that if they, much as maybe it is not there yet, but you just visualize it, you feel like if I created this thing, it is more likely after my research, my environment scanning, it is likely that this product will be on demand, or it will be so relevant. Perhaps it can even wash away what has been there. It replaces it. When phones, when let's say the computers came, before perhaps Steve Jobs created Apple, there were other types of brand which were there, much as they had not developed, but they were there. Even maybe Microsoft was there, or other types of brand, and people were literally comfortable with what was there. But for him, he brought something extraordinary, something of a complete package, something that is always growing, and something that is you feel you can not go away with. And many people substituted other products, switching to Apple products because of what the innovation and the creativity that Steve Jobs created or brought to the market. So as a young person, understand that demographics will always affect entrepreneurship. And the better you understand how to use them, how to maneuver through them, and know what the people want, the better you more likely succeed as a young entrepreneur. Then the other thing that dictates and affects entrepreneurship development in our Commonwealth countries is technology. So technology as a saboteur or as an enabler, it's either one of the two. Technology will be a saboteur or as an enabler in one instance or the other. How does technology now affect or dictates entrepreneurship? I'll give an example. Today, we are in the world where we're experiencing now a revolution into technology. We are having now something that they're developing known as the emotional intelligence, rather the artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is becoming relevant to the extent that it is seen as a relief to some extent, as an enabler for the human thrivation, the human development, but also it is being seen as a saboteur to the already established. How is it a saboteur? To a person, to people, the numbers, to the alarming numbers of unemployed youth who are over the country, they see artificial intelligence as a saboteur because it is created to take over the jobs that already exist. These people are going to be replaced by these artificial softwares, artificial robots, which will be doing what the usual natural people could be doing. And that is a saboteur in terms of income, in terms of employment. But it is seen as an enabler to the extent that it can be used to do what a human being can't do. Be it long hours for service, people have to rest, but an artificial intelligent object cannot rest. Be it taking risks or being in dangerous situations in a company, in a factory. People they might want to take measures to avoid accidents and industrial accidents and other things, but artificial object does not feel as a human being, so it can do anything. It can process information quickly and perhaps deliver results quicker than a human being. So that becomes an enabler. So as an entrepreneur, you must learn some of these things that much as I'm creating this type of business or I'm inventing something of this nature, you must put into consideration what is the role of technology into your venture. Is it going to assist you or is it going to affect you in terms of progress? Then the non-monopoly of work and workplace. This will also affect entrepreneurship in our countries. Nowadays, it is so hard. It is so hard that companies cannot now monopolize what they have in terms of, let's say, work environment, in terms of either in terms of information and all that, because there is serious innovation taking place. A person can now be here in Africa and work in USA in a particular company. He's their employee, but he's never there. That is because of the environment, how the environment has changed. So now you cannot monopolize some of the things because of accessibility to information, but also the environment. The environment has enabled many people to have access to some of these secrets or some of these innovations. Today, let's say, give an example, when today Apple releases their new phone, new brand, maybe iPhone 6, maybe 7, maybe 8, the next day you hear also Samsung has released the same, not the same, but their own Samsung, but which has all the features like what Apple has. That means there is no monopoly of information, there is no monopoly of creativity. But that does not mean that an entrepreneur will fail to create something unique for himself. Apple will still remain Apple and Samsung will still remain Samsung. And different people will choose which brand they want to use. So equally here, you must, as a young entrepreneur, you must understand that it might be hard to monopolize something, but how do you now forego that? How do you still become relevant amidst of this involvement that when it is so complicated? Then the other thing is prevalence of speed and rather the increase in unemployment rates. Much as we become entrepreneurs, or young people become entrepreneurs, or they would wish to become entrepreneurs, there is something that is also affecting entrepreneurship growth, and that is unemployment. Okay, one would say entrepreneurship is supposed to bridge that gap, supposed to create employment for young people in the Commonwealth countries through creation of jobs and employment of others. But how come there is now unemployment is affecting entrepreneurship growth? This is the reason. Failure to have capital. Many people would wish to start up something of their own, but something that bogs them down or pulls them down is capital. Because they are unemployed, they haven't earned anything. So they cannot have something like this money to invest into that product, into that type of venture they want to develop. So as a young entrepreneur who is looking for to become a successful entrepreneur, you must understand the dynamics of unemployment and how do you still maneuver through this situation and progress to the next level. Starting small is one of the ways. You don't need to start with this big company. You can start small. I'll give an example. There's this lady in Uganda. I've forgotten her name, but she's one of the active lady there. She sells detergents. She started with little money. Perhaps it was around $10, $10 to $50 to start up a detergent business by selling door to door her products, selling this soap, detergent, selling these, selling other types of different detergents. Now the enterprises grew because she started working at home, but perhaps even she was herself and the other colleague. Now the business has grown. It is over $50,000. That shows how she has how you start small and grow to a big company. And that includes also you who is looking forward to start today. You don't need to start big. You have to start small and you grow big later. Go look how Steve Jobs started. Go and see how Ford started, or even how the McDonald's started. They started small. McDonald's started by cooking food, chicken, at his place. But see today, McDonald's is all over countries. You equally can do that if you decide to do it. Then there is the prevalence of speed and uncertainty in entrepreneurship environment. So speed is equally will dictate and affect entrepreneurship. Speed I can use maybe speed in the form of how information is shared. Today you can be having this particular product. Before you even release it, someone has already had access to information, and now he has already released it faster than you. Maybe, sorry to give you this example that I'm going to highlight, but it will help us to understand how speed is working. Maybe I can give an example of Uber. There's a case that much as they have settled it out, I don't know, but between Uber and Google, they had issues to do with trade secrets, how they released and how one used that information to do automated cars. Through that speed and uncertainty, you can easily lose out your vision, you lose out something you worked to create. So the earlier you understand the relevance of speed and uncertainty in the entrepreneurship world, the better you put mechanisms that will help you to avoid either piracy or stealing trade secrets, and this will help you thrive as a young entrepreneur. Then, in finishing this component, then there is also a component of diminished loyalty of customers or clients. Perhaps gone are the days when there was monopoly in business where one brand could dominate the whole economy, and people would still would be there. The market would still be there for the products, even when the products are not good enough to be used. But times have changed today. Today, you bring a product, yes, for now it is the one there, but the next day you wake up, other 10 products have been created, which are far way better than what you brought on market. Different ventures are being created every day, thousands and thousands. So when you just feel that you have this as an entrepreneur, there is your loyalty of your customers or your clients, and you sit comfortably, and you feel you can still progress, you're lying to yourself. As a young person in the Commonwealth, you must take into consideration that until you learn to understand your clients, understand the market, and know and involve every day into creativity and innovation, you cannot maintain your clients. People will always switch the next day to another new product that has just been brought on market. So long as that product is better in terms of the purpose, it is affordable, and it is so attractive, then people will switch. There's nothing like loyal clients. So you understand this, you're able to maintain your clients so long as you give them something new every day. I like giving an example of Apple because it is so great that every day it is so relevant to a successful entrepreneur like Jeff Steves. Every year you literally expect a new type of iPhone or even Samsung, because they understand that in this dynamic world, when you just sit idle and sit and feel that this what I have already is making profits, you lose out the next day because another opponent is developing every day something, is innovative, create something better than what they have today. That's why they have to release a new phone with a particular creative and innovative element into it, and that keeps their clients, their customers, they are loyal to buy their product because if it is something great, something of full package that helps your life, live your life easy, but also achieve your dream, as he once stated, Steve Jobs. So equally, you as a young person, you must understand that much as I've become entrepreneur, or I've already established myself, how do I maintain my clientele? How do I maintain the loyalty of the customers? That is by doing something new, creative every day. Having said that, remember, you can continue the discussion using hashtag CYF. There you can continue this discussion, perhaps learn other new things that I have not highlighted. Equally, you can go into the comment section, put your comment, follow me on Twitter at Kiza Saddam, at Saddam Hussein K, then I can also still catch you there. Then, the other thing that still can affect the growth and the growth and of the entrepreneurship is the complex and unregulated systems that are emerging every day. Complex and unregulated systems, these are coming every day to do with how entrepreneurship is growing. I'll give an example of Bitcoin, the Bitcoin currency, or other types of currency that have been on them, that have been now widespread. It's been the news have been all over in Africa, in Europe, in USA. Bitcoin and other currencies, virtual currencies, are on the market, and many countries don't know how to deal with this kind of currency. Yet many people are using it to make transactions. It is making abnormal and extraordinary profits in the blink of an eye. But equally, you can lose in the blink of an eye. So having that kind of complex environment and unregulated systems, as a young entrepreneur, how do you still maneuver? How do you still maneuver through that environment and become successful? Person who invented this Bitcoin system is very proud for that. He's seeing how the world currency is changing. Seriously. But equally, it is complex. It is hard for countries not to regulate it. Countries have decided to ban it, not to inspire people to use it. But it is still there. This is just an example of how our systems are. But the issue is all about doing research and learning every day that things are happening, and these policies might not cater for this, but I still can earn a living. I can make profits in this area. Now, there is also another element of economic development policies. These economic development policies can affect the growth of entrepreneurship or dictate the growth of entrepreneurship in a manner that when they are good, entrepreneurship will thrive, will expand. Young people will enter into it and countries will prosper. But when these policies are poor, like I earlier said, they will just become a blockade, a block to some people who want to venture into it. An example I can give is the land policies. Countries which have poor land policies will find that many young people are not into agriculture as an entrepreneurship business because they literally don't have money to buy land because they haven't accumulated all that much. And even land that is there, it is owned by the rich, the few rich. The poor ones don't have access to land. Or the other one is owned by the government, and the government only allocates to people who can use it in terms of massive investment. Yet young people don't have capital to do that. But when land policies are good that they accommodate everyone, everyone has access to land, then people can maximize the profits of the land through agriculture, through investment, development, and all these other kinds. So Commonwealth countries should now think in this line. How do we make countries have better land policies or even other economic policies that can help growth of entrepreneurship? Then also now let's also understand, let's now tackle some of a few challenges and growth and the growth and challenges of entrepreneurship. Some of them I can say is modernization. Yes, we are modernizing the system. The modernization is all over. People are progressing from one stage to the other. People are now earning much more than what they used to earn yesterday. People are owning houses, people are owning cars. But it's also a challenge to an entrepreneur who cannot cope up with that rate of modernization. If today where people were using cars and suddenly they don't want to start using these cars that are using fuel, they want to the self-driven cars, or they want the electronic cars. People who are into business of cars which use fuel like petroleum products, they are going to lose out as an entrepreneurs. But so how do you move on with modernization as an entrepreneur? If your phone was these other phones that are not smartphones, you just used to produce those. But now today people are into smartphones because of modernization. So how do you now move on to innovate something new that meet up to the environment? Then expansion. Expansion can be and it can also affect the growth of entrepreneurship in a different ways. There is horizontal and vertical expansion. Many entrepreneurs are either comfortable to have vertical growth in terms of my business is growing in terms of profit. Maybe the team has grown, I've expanded the office, maybe there and there. But you don't want to spread over, you don't want to have a horizontal growth. Countries, I'll give an example of companies like maybe, uh, let me see, which companies can I give? Companies like, I can give telecom companies. Some of the telecom companies like those Indian based, maybe Airtel, maybe MTN, the South African based telecom company, it would have stayed in South Africa because still they would make profit. but because it was necessary for them to tap into other these virgin economies where there's growth of ownership of phones and network infrastructure is being constructed, then it was necessary to come to other African countries. And now MTN is all over. It's there. It's making serious. It's on growing seriously, and that is horizontal expansion. And this they do it through merger and acquisition. So if you want to grow your venture, maybe you've already established your business as an entrepreneur, then think of venturing, of expanding your business. That includes merger and acquisition. And it could also include vertical growth, expand your team and maximize on still on earning profits, but also serving the interest of the people, of the clients, of your clients who buy your services or your products. Then the other one is diversification. Diversification is all about innovation of new products. Many people think that when you invent something, it is all you can just maintain that and grow it. Just maybe maintain it. If it is let's say a laptop, keep it like that. Perhaps you can only add a few systems. But diversification is different. You can maintain, yes, the software, but change the outlook, or even create something new, bring something new in your products. Like Apple, they bring more new products into Apple world, making it easy for someone. It becomes a one-stop center. If you want to do shopping of crops, of businesses, or rather clothes, if you want to buy air ticket, if you want to buy airtime, if you want to Skype, everything is there. If you want to order a car, it is one area where you find everything. But also you can create other products. Maybe now it's not about laptop. You can create a phone. You can create a screen at home. That is necessary for you to thrive as an entrepreneur. Then, lastly, perhaps not lastly per se, but now it's time now I share examples with you young people. What are the examples or different business examples that you can venture into? Yes, we've understood entrepreneurship. We've understood some of the things that we need to take care of, what our governments need to do in order to support the entrepreneurship development. But as a young person, many people are like yesterday, but my friend asked me, but I need to do business. Yes, I'm doing this and this, but I need to do a different business, which can still make me earn me money. And he was wondering, what can I do? He was asking himself, and I was like, there are many things you can do, but always, what you really do you feel you're comfortable doing? What is so attractive to you? What is your passion? Where is your passion? Now, for me, I highlighted a few businesses, but there are many types of businesses you can work into. But that does not mean you just take that business the way it is. You can go into it, but innovate something that can make it grow. If let's say you're talking about technology, yes, there are already phones, there are already computers, but how can you create your own type of phone that can be more attractive to be bought by people rather than buying other types of phones which have been there? So among the examples, there is farming. We agree that through farming we get food, and without farming, perhaps we could be dying of hunger. Yes, already people are dying of hunger. Go to go to part of Yemen, go to Nigeria. Hunger is there, poverty is there. But farming can also be an attractive area for entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs. The moment you discover your market base, presume let's say in Kenya, people eat a lot of kaunga, gari, and samaki, some parts of Kenya. So if you have a youth in Kenya, then you can right away think like, start planning that how can I go into agriculture of growing maize? Because I can assure you, whatever you eat does not come back on the plate. It goes off, and you have to do something. You have to grow crops and bring food on plate. So your food will automatically be on demand. But the issue is, how do you grow it, and how do you process it, and how do you deliver it, and what what price tag are you attaching to your good or to your finished product? So, farming is an attractive area. Go into modern farming. Don't you use this other go into this rudimentary farming where you find that the capital you've invested in cannot even you cannot get it out and after the whole selling and harvest and sale. That is not good. Go into modern farming. Use researched and well recommended perhaps fertilizers. Irrigate where there is desert. But all in all, make sure that you are doing something that will earn you a profit at a later point, but also solve a particular problem in the market. Then manufacturing is also another business. People who have read, there's a book I one time read, I think 5 years ago or 3 years ago. So Chief it's by Chief Mongoli. Yeah, Chief Mongoli. He's he's such a good writer. He wrote many things about entrepreneurship, business, and he's an inspirational speaker in different areas. There was one time in Uganda, he went to Kenya, he went to Paris, he went to US, to New York. He has become he was a traveled author who has tried many businesses, being a lawyer, being a homemade, doing many several business. So he recommended some of the great business you can work, you can partake as a young person. And I recommend it. You can read the book. You find many types of business you can venture into. But away from that, manufacturing is a good business that young people can venture into. But of course, it requires capital, requires money, or perhaps requires knowledge, the know-how of how to manufacture a product. You don't need to set up this great big factory. Starting at home, you can manufacture something at home and you start selling it over to the market. I give an example of the lady in Uganda who started the detergents, soaps, and all that. Suddenly now she has grown the market. Her market base has grown and the company has grown. Now she's employing. She's using modern ways of producing the products. You can equally start small and grow big. Remember, the one who never ventured never gained. So if you cannot venture into something, don't expect anything like a gain. So as a young person, you can also enter into computer world, the computer technology and communication. Nowadays, young people spend a lot of time online. Either you are Googling, either you are YouTubing, either you are on Snapchat, either you are on Instagram, you're on WhatsApp, you're on Facebook. All that you're using gadgets, you're using technology, and you're equally using communication networks. So if you can be this young person who can who can use who can use technology to develop something innovative, then you can equally earn a living and become a successful entrepreneur. There are many examples I have been highlighting, so you don't need many examples in terms of technology, not to mention the billionaires of this world, the Bill Gates and others. Then supplying raw materials is also another business you can venture into. Young people who are into supplying raw materials to different companies or factories, they're earning a living and they're expanding their companies. This could either be in terms of agriculture, in terms of raw materials like minerals, many things you can do. You can make a research, but all in all, actually, always make a research first before you do that. Reach out to these factories. What do they do and what do they use? And you have it in your area, or you can still find it somewhere. Bring it, sell to them, and imagine, and you grow your company. Then you can go into clean renewable energy. Today, more than ever, the clean renewable energy tools or tool or types of, of technology they are growing today. I say this because I feel it is something young people should take advantage of. We we have many there have been many uh, rather familiar ways of getting access to energy using the variables like using fuel, using either diesel, using hydroelectricity and all that. But because of new development and new innovation, now we can tap clean energy using solar energy, using wind energy, using thermal or biothermal energy. All this gives room now for young people to innovate and create other tools they can use to tap this clean energy. And that can be your area of expertise. You could be an expert in that area. You could open up a company, innovate something, and sell it to the world. People are switching now to clean energy because of the Paris Conference and the Paris Agreement and all that, the climate change Paris Agreement. So this can be a good area for you to invent and discover and a good profit as an entrepreneur, but also employ others and protect our environment. Then fashion and design, yes, everyone wants to always have to dress up something. People want to look cool. Ladies want to dress up well. Gentlemen want to be, looking good. And all these, they never know. Not everyone process these or manufacture these clothes at home. They go to boutiques, they go to shops, they go to malls. So if you can, this person who can design this print, rather design it well, create a good cloth for someone, a good cloth makes good fashion for someone to buy a finished cloth, then you can be a billionaire in that area. You know that many areas, there are many people who have succeeded in that area, fashion styles, brands, and all that. Food is also another area. I don't have, yes, I said farming is good, but also people who also sell food, already food that is already cooked, they are also making a living. Do I need to give examples? You already know them. People are opening hotels, kiosks, and all that. People are selling food via like Jumia. People who are Jumia. Jumia is delivering just food to people who cannot have time to go out of their offices, or who don't want to cook. Maybe they're busy. So just delivering them food and they eat. The company is growing seriously. Hospitality industry, I don't need to mention that, also in many countries. People are traveling all over and they want to be entertained. They want to to feel good in wherever they go. So hospitality industry is also another area. Tourism industry is there. Also, these many countries which have tourism which have tourist areas that are favored areas. Maybe people want to go and tour gorillas. Maybe people want to tour cities. Me myself, I've been to tourism, and that's the area I feel I love much. So there is always you can always earn a living even at your place. You don't need to work harder. Jewelry, I don't need to say that also. Ladies, gentlemen, you like to have jewelry on your fingers, perhaps a good ring, a gold rod, or diamond coated or whatever ring, or you need a good watch, you need a good necklace. It is just people are celebrating Valentine's Day. It is a day where they buy a lot of stuff for their loved ones. Even today, every day people are buying jewelry for themselves and for their loved ones. So if you enter into jewelry, you might likely not be either fail because of the demand. So long as you design it well, make it affordable, people will buy. Then I may take water. Selling via internet. I did tell you that people are buying stuff on the internet. Many young people are spending much time on the internet. But yes, spending a lot of time on the internet could be bad for you. Perhaps you're wasting a lot of time. Perhaps internet is being used for other negative things like radicalization and all that. But also using internet for good things, for good purposes, good. Take an example. Billionaires of today now, there are people who are selling things on internet. They're giving internet as a platform for you to buy stuff. Talk about Jack Ma from China. Talk about the Alibaba. Rather, the Alibaba is for Jack Ma, but there is forgotten the name, but the American company, which is selling also stuff on internet. You just have to create a platform so for someone to log in to see the product that you have there Either you entered into partnership with the owners and you just bring them on the platform and people buy it. You unimagine and suddenly you become a billionaire. All in all, is to do research, innovate something, have clear policies, and people will come to you so long as you have the right things they are in need of. So I was talking about Amazon. The owner of Amazon is now the richest. So these are the platforms, these are the good examples that young people need to learn from. You don't have to do the same thing. You just have to create your own in a different way, but serving the same, more maybe even the more good solution to the already challenges that are there. In our economies, many people, their products are reaching in the arcades. They are failing to get customers because their products are not known to the market. They're not known to the people. Yet we pass there every day, but you don't know that these things are there. But when you start using the internet, which is accessible to everyone, so long as you have data on the phone or in a laptop or anything, use the internet to market your stuff, you market your products. People will always come to you and buy to you because it is easy. You come directed to that particular area. Then, of course, there is transport. Transport is such a booming industry. You never make. Okay, you can always make losses, but it's a good area. People who understand it, either it's air transport, road transport, railway transport, water transport is there. Electronics, I don't have to say much about it either. Electronics is if people are into electronics, they're making a lot of money. And research, there are many things you can decide to be uh, herbalist or what. But there are many things, but even research is an area where young people can venture into. Then, as I come to close, now there is innovation. There is now some of the things, a few things I want to share with you as I sum up my discussion. And these include some of the great principles you as a young person can learn or put into consideration or inspire you to become a great entrepreneur. And these are none other than got from anyone else but from they are got from Steve Jobs in a book called The Innovation Secrets of Steve Jobs, written by Gallo. One of the things he highlighted 7 principles which I felt like I should share with you as a young person who wants to enter into business. One of them is do what you love. One time, Steve Jobs said to his employees that people with passion can change the world for the better. People with passion can change the world for the better. So I want to ask you as a young person, what passion do you have? What do you feel you can do better? What do you feel is lacking and you have passion to deliver something that can solve that can bridge that gap? Do you see artificial technology as the area you can use? If you're into technology, then go for it. If you feel this is the area that can help the next centuries to live a comfortable life, a sustainable life, a prosperous life, then go into it. Don't meander around doing this and that, but rather focus on that one. And I bet you'll become successful. Then put a dent in the universe. All of us, many of the people, maybe perhaps at one point even myself, when you when I either start a business or any other person who wants to start a business is looking at what is the profit, how can I earn a living and profits and expand my business and make a legacy of such. But people who see their enterprise or create their business or their products for the sake of putting a dent or establishing a reputation of a person who has solved a particular problem for the world for maybe coming years and years, he will always be remembered and he will always stand tall among the many entrepreneurs. Okay, let's give an example. A person who invented the bulb we all use for lighting in our homes. Do you feel that person will ever be forgotten? It's hard, much as you can, yes, other different stuff were being invented, but the first person invented it, the person always will be remembered because he brought light to the people. No one wants to stay in the darkness. Much as people don't have access to a crystal what, they still need light, maybe through candles and what. So a person who also invented the candle. Now, a person who invented the phone, how much can you appreciate him or her today? And this goes back to you. What dent do you look to put in the world? What do you feel the world should always be appreciative for what you did or what you innovated or what you created as an innovator, as an entrepreneur? There are many things that the world is always full of opportunities. By you look at the challenge that has been there for since time immemorial, that no one has provided a better solution, then researching it, discover, create, innovate a solution, and you always stand tall for years and years. And most of you earn profit for that. And the world always rewards such people. Then the other principle he stated was you have to kickstart your brain. Kickstart your brain as an entrepreneur. Kickstarting a brain, it goes in different ways. First of all, just giving it a thought about what exactly you want to do. Just having this ideal world of you having done this and how it would look like. Or you going to workshop, different trainings, and researching about what you want to do. That is kickstarting. I mean, you're in the pipeline. You want to create something. You are now kickstarting the brain, and that will help you reach your desired goal. Then you must be able to sell dreams and not products. Selling dreams, not products. I'll give an example of Apple because he gives us his principles. He once said that a person who buys an Apple product is not buying just a product, he's buying a dream. Meaning that people want to achieve their dream using a particular product. I'll give an example, a person in, let's say, in Malawi, a young person in Malawi who wants maybe to study at Harvard. He doesn't have money, but all in all, he feels like he should be at Harvard. He works hard every day, goes to school, he reads hard, but something can help that person be there. That is an Apple product. By either going to a phone, researching about scholarships at Harvard, researching the right course, and even reading materials that make you succeed in your class so that you have that scholarship, is the way his dream can be achieved using a particular product. That's why I say it's not about the product, it's about buying a dream or achieving a dream. So as a young person, how do you want to help these people achieve their dreams? A person who's now today is inventing perhaps a person who has maybe invented the self-driven cars. People maybe have many accidents. People are getting drunk and they drive when they're drunk they make accidents. People die. People maybe others are getting behind the steering when they don't know how to drive. Or there have many challenges that are associated with driving. So by bringing a self-driven car, there are many challenges going to solve. Many challenges. And those can be helping those people achieve their dreams by eliminating those other challenges. A person who invented airplanes, how do we really be able to travel this world without airplanes? Yes, there could be use of oceans through water transport, but it would take years and years for you to discover the world. But today, a person can sleep in New York, the next day is in London, the next hour is in Geneva, the next day is in Pretoria or is in Nairobi, just because of an airplane. So how do you help your people achieve the dream through the product you want to bring, through entrepreneurship? And remember, these people are making a lot of money through air transport. The other one is Say no to 1,000 things. Say no to 1,000 things. But move forward maybe with one or two. For you to become an entrepreneur, you encounter a lot of things. You are tempted to do a lot of businesses. Maybe someone he has succeeded in becoming in having a business in petroleum and energy. Maybe another one is doing well in terms of selling cars. Maybe another one is doing well in agriculture. But all these are the examples that come to you and feel like, okay, I have seen all this, but what can I really do? What is good for me? What is the passion I have? So you must be able to say no to all these other things. There could be more than 1,000, and just choose one thing that you're good at or you feel you are comfortable with. Remember, he himself he said, I am as proud of what we don't do as I am of what we do. Meaning that you leave other things and just focus on one thing. Don't scatter around. Then you'll be nowhere. But if you focus on one thing, you'll be easily seen somewhere. Then create insanely great experience. That's the principle number seven, what he said. Create insanely great experience. People who use your product should be excited of what is there, what they can do with using a product. Using a phone, you can do a lot of many things, like I highlighted: business, networking, communication, and all. You can create a product that can serve many purposes, or they can make people feel happy with what they have. A person who decides now to create a reusable sanitary pad is solving a big challenge of young girls who don't have access to expensive sanitary pads. So by creating reusable sanitary pads, a young girl can buy it at cheap price, uses this and it, and stays clean and comfortable while at school or at home or even among the peers. To that child, you've given them a great experience of what it means to be a lady, but also live comfortable and clean as a young lady. So equally you make research and see how can you create this insanely great experience. Then lastly, master the message. Yes, you can create a great business, a great enterprises, but you fail to market it. You fail to make it known to the world. One of many great entrepreneurs are great speakers. They know how to speak about their product. They know how to sell it. But if you are this person who cannot communicate, you cannot deliver information about your product, people will not buy it. There's one time I went to a local market. I never had even intention of buying a shoe. But I went to the market to buy, I needed a belt. But I ended up buying a shoe. Someone will say, "Oh, you're mad. These are people who just go, who have addiction. You just buy anything that crosses you." No, it was an experience that I felt, wow, if I can be like this guy. He was so good enough that he convinced me. I feel attracted to how he was speaking about the shoe, where it's made, how it's so good, how it looks good on me, and I ended up buying. Most so, not cheaply. Many of you have encountered these situations. And this is the message I'm talking about to you, a young person who wants to go into entrepreneurship. Be able to convince people about your product. If you cannot make people buy your product, then you equally have done nothing into innovation or into entrepreneurship. You have to quit it. Or the end result is people should buy your product or service as an entrepreneur. To conclude, I have to thank you so much for those people for you who have followed us or who will watch this YouTube video and learn something and be able to inspire others or be able to venture into entrepreneurship and be able to boost entrepreneurship development within our Commonwealth countries, but also inspire prosperity within our Commonwealth countries. Once again, thank you so much for you have been online and those who have We'll follow it up later. But all in all, let's take action. Let's turn the wheels of entrepreneurship in the young youth, and let's inspire the world. Let's power our own future. Thank you so much. I remain Kiza Saddam Hussein for you now until we can catch up later. Have a nice day. Be able to contact me through social media or YouTube or via Gmail. I'll be glad to continue the discussion with you. Thank you so much.